Welcome back to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit, where we decode the fuel behind every firestorm in the automotive and economic engine. Today, the road takes a sharp turn into a retail political collision. US President Trump is slamming Walmart over rising prices tied to tariffs. In return, Walmart is slashing 1,500 jobs, signaling much deeper troubles beneath the hood. It's a tariff-fueled tug-of-war that's rocking corporate America, shaking wallets and stalling shoppers. What triggered this showdown? And what's really happening behind the scenes? Strap in. Here are the breakdowns, blowbacks, and big consequences steering the future of retail economics. Trump versus Walmart, the truth social meltdown that lit the fuse. This retail clash didn't start in a boardroom. It exploded on Truth Social. Trump blasted Walmart for raising prices, accusing the retail giant of hiding behind tariffs and demanding they eat the costs. His post ended with a warning: "I'll be watching, and so will your customers." Walmart, already grappling with razor-thin margins and rising import costs, 60% of its goods come from China, responded with calm urgency. CEO Doug McMillon made it clear the company could no longer absorb tariff pressure. Price hikes on electronics, clothing, car seats, and produce were inevitable by June. Their response wasn't political, it was mathematical. Tariffs added weight to every product on the shelf. Trump's outburst turned a supply chain strain into political theater. While his supporters once applauded the tough stance on China, many now face its consequences at the checkout line. Walmart's iconic role as a price leader amplified the backlash. As reality hit consumers, Trump doubled down, accusing the company of betrayal. But the deeper question remained: who should really shoulder the cost, corporations or everyday Americans? But behind that storm lies a harsher reality, one driven by numbers, not narratives. Tariffs, margins, and the reality of retail economics. At its core, the issue is simple, but financially punishing. Tariffs are taxes paid by US importers, not foreign suppliers. For Walmart, heavily reliant on overseas goods, especially from China, those costs strike directly at already thin 4 to 5% margins. Despite enormous revenue, Walmart's profits must support nearly 5,000 stores, hundreds of thousands of employees, and price-conscious customers. That leaves little room when supply chain costs surge. Every slight increase forces a tough call: absorb the hit or raise prices. Yale research shows tariffs are costing the average American household over $2,800 a year. For many, that means skipping meals, canceling school purchases, or cutting essentials. Shoppers from Indiana to Missouri are already feeling the squeeze. Trump insists Walmart should shield consumers, but former execs and economists argue otherwise. In retail, survival isn't about patriotism, it's about math. Even the biggest players can't outrun basic economics. Tariffs may not appear on your paycheck, but they quietly drain your wallet at the register, one price hike at a time. And as those numbers grow more painful, retailers aren't staying quiet. They're starting to push back, hard. Before we delve deeper, do us a favor and smash that like and subscribe button. It helps the Piston Pundit community grow, so you never miss a shift in the economic gears that impact your wallet. Retailers push back, a political and corporate chain reaction. The White House may have expected quiet cooperation, but got a wall of resistance instead. Walmart, joined by Target, Amazon, and Best Buy, began trimming forecasts and warning investors about tariff-related turbulence. Business as usual? Far from it. Walmart's decision to withhold second-quarter profit guidance, a rare move for a company its size, spoke volumes. Meanwhile, Amazon faced speculation about showing tariff charges on its site, which it denied. But the message was clear. Tariff uncertainty was rattling retail giants. Behind closed doors, some GOP lawmakers began distancing themselves from Trump's trade stance. Constituents were feeling the pinch, and polling data reflected growing dissatisfaction. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent quietly acknowledged what economists had long warned: tariff costs would ultimately hit consumers. Experts like Joanna Piacenza noted this was no mere PR maneuver. Retailers were publicly preparing shoppers for unavoidable economic fallout. Tariffs don't just squeeze margins, they reshape business models. This wasn't just a corporate flare-up. It became a collision between political image and economic reality, with the consumer caught squarely in the middle. But what happens when that fight turns inward, into job cuts and internal restructuring? Restructuring to survive, Walmart's internal shakeup. Under mounting economic and political pressure, Walmart announced a major internal overhaul on May 21st, cutting 1,500 corporate roles across its US and global tech divisions. But this wasn't just about cost-cutting. It was a strategic pivot to streamline operations in a volatile retail climate. Departments affected included Walmart Connect, e-commerce logistics, and supply chain tech teams. Executives described the move as necessary to remove layers and complexity and boost agility. While some jobs were eliminated, others were opened, suggesting a shift, not a retreat. This is part of a broader trend. Over the past year, Walmart shut down Innovation Incubator Store No. 8, reduced merchandising roles, and relocated staff to key hubs like Bentonville and Seattle. The recent Vizio acquisition may signal future growth, but it's a bumpy ride getting there. Experts like China's Zhou Mi argue these restructurings are the result of outdated U.S. trade policies clashing with modern global supply chains. For Walmart, it's adapt or fall behind. But for 1,500 workers, that adaptation comes at a steep personal cost. And with those costs rising, even giants like Walmart can only stretch so far before cracks appear across the industry. The bigger picture: economic tug-of-war or recession risk. Walmart's latest moves send shockwaves far beyond its stores. As an economic bellwether, its instability hints at deeper trouble ahead. After Trump's tariff tirade and Walmart's restructuring news, its stock dipped, investors flinched, and analysts raised the specter of a broader slowdown. Consumer habits are shifting. Inflation fears are rising. Families are scaling back, buying less, switching to generics, delaying major purchases. These aren't budgeting tweaks. They're survival strategies in response to shrinking purchasing power. Other major retailers are bracing too. Target cut its sales forecast. Mattel is hiking prices. Best Buy expects tighter quarters. Even Home Depot is warning of potential product shortages. Former Walmart exec Bill Simon claimed the company could absorb tariffs, but economists disagree. Even retail giants have breaking points. And if Walmart, America's toughest negotiator, can't shield consumers, smaller players have no chance. This isn't just policy theory anymore. Tariffs are squeezing real wallets every day. Trade wars may sound tough in speeches, but on the ground, they're ringing up costs families can't afford. Which brings us to the final and most personal gear shift of all: the cost to everyday Americans. Verdict: tariffs, turbulence, and the consumer crossroads. The Trump-Walmart clash has become more than a headline. It's now a symbol of how aggressive trade policies can trigger real-world consequences. Retailers like Walmart are no longer sugarcoating the impact. Price hikes, job cuts, and supply chain shakeups are being addressed openly, even if it means facing political backlash. The cost of silence has become too high. Tariffs, once promoted as patriotic policy, are now a growing burden on families. Receipts are longer, shelves are thinner, and wallets are under pressure. As retail giants restructure to survive, a bigger question lingers: who's responsible for the fallout? Let's hear what you think. Should companies like Walmart keep absorbing the costs, or is it time for Washington to rethink its trade strategy? Have you noticed the changes? Higher prices, less stock, or thinner staff at your local store? Who's really driving this? Corporate decisions or political agendas? Drop your answers in the comments. We want to hear your side of the story. And don't forget to subscribe to Piston Pundit, your ultimate pit stop for vehicle updates, economic shifts, and the power plays behind the prices you pay. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep your engines tuned and your insights sharper than ever. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.